lap 10 and 6 right continued over 10.
Welcome to Special Stage and welcome to round 4 of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship. We've had howling wind and rain in the series so far. We're halfway through and now we've got ice, -4 degrees here at Croft for the Jack Frost stages. The action already well underway behind me and those championship contenders have got their eyes on the points. There'll be no backing off despite the conditions on those stages. Let's join the action right now. On to the opening stage of the Darlington and District Motor Club Rally then, and it will be Guy Smith and Patrick Walsh that lead the way from the start. A good lead as well of 22 seconds in that Focus WRC after 2 stages. Guy leading after 1, what a start for you.
Yeah, just it's a lot of fun. I mean, the rallying is just so much fun. It's really nice to do something out of your comfort zone. And the Focus is a great car to drive. A lot of fun.
Tracks look a lot different with hay bales.
They do, and they're very unforgiving, so you have to treat them like walls. But it's a great event, and Patrick and I are just really enjoying ourselves. Cheers. Thanks.
Alan Kirkcaldy and Gary Muir make a great start too. Seated down in 35th, due to not competing for a while, was having its problems, catching a few cars on the stages. But for now, it will be 2nd place and leading the way in Class 4. What a great start for you on that leaderboard.
Yeah, it was first time here, so we're just going to see how we get on, but we had a problem with the gear shift actuator freezing up this morning, so hopefully it thaws out a bit and then the rest of the day it will get warmer.
That man sat next to you likes it when it's sideways.
He does.
Paul and Jessica Swift make a great start to their local event, lying 3rd overall at this stage and 2nd in Class 4, just 6 seconds behind Kirkcaldy ahead. Does local knowledge help you when it's this cold and slippery?
I doubt it, no, but it is very... In fact, that one was a lot less slippy than the first one, so we've taken nearly a minute off our first time, so happy with that.
That's the way to do it, cheers. A new car this weekend for John Stone, with Junior Championship driver Tommy Meadows in the co-driver seat. Things were going okay so far with 4th overall, but it wasn't without its moments. Getting the car in the gravel on the opening stage and a small knock to the front on stage 2, just bending the bodywork enough for us not to get the door open for an interview. All good?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, really enjoying it. Yeah.
Happy with the pace?
Yeah, we're just having a good time and yeah, it's getting quicker.
Cheers. Ashley Field was back out looking to put right the points tally after that mistake at Rockingham. This time with Fred Field back in the co-driver's seat. Things were going okay for now. 5th place on the leaderboard, 3rd in Class 4. We saw you pushing hard out there, Ashley.
Yeah, we're trying to make up for the unfortunate mishap at Rockingham that we've now got over. So we are pushing hard. It's a bit slippy out there, but it's better this time than the first loop. So.
Barry and Michael Lindsay were out this weekend in the SG Pets Prize Drive Evo for their results in the North East Championship last season. And it was a great start as well, with 6th place for now. Prize Drive time. How's it going?
It's going well. Totally amazing car compared to what I'm used to with 2-wheel drive 106 1600.
You're still chucking it around like a 106 though.
I'm getting the hang of it. I don't want to enjoy it too much though, because I couldn't afford to run one of these.
The track may have looked dry here at Croft, but the choice of wets seemed to work for David White and Kurt Doan. They start off with 5th fastest, but moved down a little to 7th in stage 2. You're pushing hard out there, David.
It's going well, yeah. We've gone out on wet tyres and they seem to be working well. Plenty of grip, enjoying it, yeah, really good.
Peter Stevenson and Ian Windress start the day with 8th. A small mistake in a chicane cost them a little time, but nothing major. And aside from that, they were happy with their times.
Yes, fine, it is, thank you, yeah. I'm going to change tyres for the next stage, but that's quite good.
You finding the grip?
Yeah, I lost. Went through a hair, lost a chicane on the first stage, dropped me about 15 seconds, but I had a clean run that time, so full back.
You got the car to make it up with?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Pete Smith and Graham Wild have a good start in the Metro, just inside the top 10 now with 9th, and only a second behind Stevenson ahead. That, though, would be a place they shared with Barry Renwick and Steve Dargan. Identical time overall to Smith, and rounding out our top 10 at this stage. Cold start for you, more ways than one.
Yeah, it's warmer now.
Happy?
Yeah, it was good. First one was slippy, obviously being running first on the road, but that was a lot better. Well, 40 seconds quicker, so it's going the right way, Paul.
Just outside the top 10, it will be 11th overall for James Sharrock and Martin Kenyon. A new co-driver to get used to this weekend, but it was going okay with 4th in class at this stage. Alistair and Joe Hutchinson were having a good run, catching cars in the stages though, and ending stage 2 with the lead in class 3 in 12th overall. The lead will be a slender one though, with Steve Quigley and Tom Hutchings close behind. Just 3 seconds between the two Clios now. And indeed, it will be a close one for 3rd in the Class 2, with Rob Snowden and Kim Gray taking up that position just a further 2 seconds back from the fight up ahead for the lead. It would be the best possible start for Stephen Irwin and Neil Bye, taking an early lead of almost 40 seconds in the Class 2 battle and lying in 18th overall, 18 places higher than 2nd place in the class. Tim Simpson and Gary Green have a good steady run in Class 3, lying 4th in the class at this stage of the event, as well as 20th on the leaderboard in the Sunbeam. Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler will be happy with the times being set in Class 1. They have a good lead in that class now of 26 seconds. It was an enjoyable first couple of stages for Stuart Gilks and Michael Boynes as they reached the end of stage 2 with 5th in Class 3. The times on the first stage could have been better, but they get into things by stage 2, finding a better pace. It's a great start in Class 6 for David and Nana Goose, leading the way with a minute's advantage. This weekend, a shakedown for the Isle of Man coming up at the end of the month. And Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett will be another crew to settle in by the end of the 2nd stage. The times improving as the morning went on. They lie 5th in Class 4 now. With Joe Cunningham out ahead in the Class 1 battle, it will be Andrew and Rachel Foster leading the rest of the class with 2nd. The Nova pair with a slim 6-second advantage in that position. And it will be Novas filling the top of the class with Justin Lawson and Paul Hargreaves in 3rd. Another venue the pair were not familiar with, so the first stage was always going to be a bit of a sighting lap. They would share their overall time though with Mark and John Gaskin. But for them, it will be 2nd in Class 2, 39 seconds off their class lead, and with a small margin over 3rd. And in that 3rd place were Mark Burton and Zoe Wright. A good start for the Fiesta pair to lie just 6 seconds behind Gaskin ahead. It wouldn't have been the best of openings on stage 1 for Paul Sheard and Steve Hallmark, 4th in Class 2 and 39th overall. Times on stage 2 much better than the first, so things were looking better again now. It wouldn't be a bad start for Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster. They end the first 2 stages with 4th in Class 1. And just behind them on the overall results were Martin Peters and Jason Leaf, themselves fighting for a place in Class 2. 5th position in the class now, just 4 seconds behind Sheard up ahead. We'd see no problems for Andrew Fawcett and Chris Purvis. They settle in well over the first few stages to take up 5th in Class 1. With David Goose way ahead in Class 6, it will be Nick Kitchen and Drew Trellope that lie 2nd in the class, a minute off the lead in the class and themselves with a minute's advantage in 2nd. Their class rivals in 3rd place now would be Philip Thompson and Fred Roberts, 3rd in the class and a minute behind 2nd position. And for John Nicholson and Peter Littlefield, it will be 4th in the class, sitting just outside the podium positions. Their gap to the crew ahead was a little smaller at 23 seconds. So at the end of stage 2, the results look like this. One of the great things about the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship being on circuits and fairly non-damaging in terms of surface is that we're getting a really nice variety of cars, like cars that we might not otherwise see out competing, including this, which really, for me, someone in my generation, epitomises front-wheel drive rallying, that Formula 2 Justin Dale Peugeot 106 Maxi, driven by none other than Charlie Barlow, our junior champion, junior Micra, to X-Works 106 Maxi.
Yeah, it's been a big step up, you know. Dad's kindly lent me the car, you know, to have a couple of events through the winter in, so it's really an honour to drive it. Everyone loves seeing it here, so it's really good.
So for me, it is an iconic sight seeing this car out, but what does your future hold now? We talked to you earlier on in the year at Cadwell and you were doing the junior round there. You've obviously got the championship. What do you do next?
So at the minute, Pete from RED and his team are building 1400S Nissan Micra for us to compete in the mixed surface and the Welsh Gravel Championship next year. So that'll be a good year for us to learn pace notes, gravel, and build up my experience. So.
You're certainly building up your experience with different types of cars. I know you went and did a track day with your regular co-driver Tom in this earlier in the year as well, so you kind of got a feel for it, but it must be such a fun car to drive.
Yeah, it is. Like, this is only my third time out in it, so I'm still learning the car, but it's really, really good to drive.
Well, it's a hell of a prize drive for winning the junior championship, that one. Nice one. Good luck with the rest of the event.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bentley boy Guy Smith leads with a comfortable margin after 2 stages, but just because he knows race circuits doesn't mean he's got it plain sailing, because they look a lot different in -4 degrees Celsius temperatures, and with hay bales and chicanes, he's doing well so far, but the championship contenders are chasing him down because we are now halfway through the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, of course, here at the Jack Frost stages. All the action continues next. On to the next couple of stages then, and there will be no change at the top for Guy Smith and Patrick Walsh. They continue to lead the way and extend that lead slightly to 25 seconds. What a show you are putting on today, Guy.
Yeah, we lost, unfortunately we lost the paddle shift, and by the time I kind of got half around the first lap and realised how to go to manual, so it was fine, but it wasn't ideal, so we lost, you know, I think it was quicker that time, but I think we probably lost a little bit of time. But still good fun, still enjoying it. Cheers.
For Ashley and Fred Field, it would be a good loop. They climbed their way up the results and into second place now. The times were looking a lot better now that the conditions were improving on the track. Ashley, you're still hanging in there?
We are. I think we had a better stage on that one. We were definitely taking time out of the WRC focus, so we must have gained sort of good 100 yards or so.
There's a benchmark for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Things were still going well for Alan Kirkcaldy and Gary Muir. The times were still good, but they were still encountering some hold-ups on the stage when catching the cars ahead. For now, it will be 3rd overall and 2nd in class. The commitment out there is staggering. You're really pushing this thing.
Yeah, well now we've got tyres all set up now, so hopefully in the next 2 stages we can go harder. Only problem is our bad seeding's affecting us, we're getting held up, but just have to take the good with the bad.
For Paul and Jessica Swift, it will be a close battle for the Class 4 podium positions. 3rd in the class for now and 4th overall, but with just 5 seconds between them and Kirkcaldy ahead. You can tell when you mean business because you don't go sideways very much.
I'm a bit grumpy today.
You're taking the racing lines.
Yeah, no, it's good. You have to around here, and obviously the problem is, I guess, is cars on different laps and things, and we've got to get around them. But we're having a great day.
No mistakes this time around for Peter Stevenson and Ian Windress. They move up the results in this loop to end the morning with 5th place, and of course 2nd in the class behind the event leaders. Halfway through, Pete, happy?
Yeah, a lot better now, thank you. Proper tyres on, getting into it now, get the swing of it, thank you. Yeah, much better.
Cheers. Thank you. John Stone and Tommy Meadows drop a little down the results in this loop, now down to 6th. But they wouldn't be worrying about that too much. Still some good times, and this weekend was all about seat time in that new car. John, you're getting used to the car a bit more now, we can see that from the outside.
Yeah, I'm loving it, absolutely. What a piece of kit. Brilliant. I can't wait to get it over Manx or something like that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Good stuff. It's a move the right way up the results for Barry Renwick and Steve Dargan. They step up to 7th position now, taking up 4th place in Class 5. Barry, this thing looks so stable out there.
Yeah, it's getting there now. I think we need a harder tyre on now. We're still on the soft ones, but yeah, it's getting there.
That must mean you're expecting to go quicker.
Hopefully, yeah.
Meanwhile, things were not quite going to plan for James Sharrock and Martin Kenyon this weekend. 8th place overall and 4th in the class wasn't where they wanted to be for the championship race. I only hope you're having as much fun on the inside as it looks from the outside.
Yeah, we're messing around with setup. I think that was quite obvious with that one there. But yeah, that was. I don't know. We're not going to challenge for top 3. I think today. So it's enjoying ourselves today. I think.
Well, you would if there were points for sideways. Sadly, we'd lose Pete Smith and Graham Wild in this loop of stages when the prop shaft fails on the 6R4, bringing it to a slow crawl out of the stage. For David White and Kurt Doan, it would be a small drop to 5th in Class 5. The pair just keeping themselves inside our top 10 with 9th place on that leaderboard. David, I'm not sure you could get any closer to that limit out there. You're pushing.
We're pushing really hard and enjoying it. We lost a bit of time on the last stage because of engine management problems, but it's back on song again now and it's running really well, so let's give it some.
Really entertaining out there, nice one.
Thank you.
But rounding out the top 10 now was Steve Quigley and Tom Hutchings, now leading the way in Class 3 as well after problems for the class leaders. What's the story, Steve?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, really, really good stage. Alistair was a couple of seconds in front for the class and he's just spun in front of us. Yeah. So we should hopefully be leading the class, but I'm knackered.
There's a lot of commitment out there.
Oh, it is. It's really good.
Cheers. Speaking of whom, for Alistair and Joe Hutchinson, it will be a drop to 2nd in the class now. The lead gone. They had 27 seconds if they wanted to fight for it again. Stuart Gilks and Michael Boynes have a good run in these few stages to move up to 3rd in the class behind Hutchinson. And it was close, only 6 seconds behind at this stage. And it was close in 4th place as well, with Rob Snowden and Kim Gray unfortunately just dropping down to that position, but only 3 seconds back from Gilks. And no change for Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett in this loop. They remain 5th in Class 4, taking 20th on the leaderboard for now. Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler continued their good run to move even further into the lead in Class 1, now up to 1 minute of an advantage in that position. Tim Simpson and Gary Green moved down the results a little to take up 5th in Class 3, less than a minute separating the top of the class at this stage. And there will be no change in the lead of Class 6, with David and Naina Goose continuing to lead the way there. No problems to report as they extend that lead to 3 minutes now. Stephen Irwin and Neil Bye maintain the Class 2 lead in these stages, but the advantage was getting slimmer. 14 seconds was the lead now as they go into the second half of the rally. Paul Sheard and Steve Hallmark get back on the usual pace in this loop to move up the results. 2nd in class now behind Irwin and up to 31st overall. And it's a similar story in Class 1. Andrew Fawcett and Chris Purvis moving the right way up the results to take up 2nd in the class, just a minute off the lead at the halfway point. Frustratingly, we would lose, however, Justin Lawson and Paul Hargreaves from that class battle, the gearbox giving up on stage 3. So that would mean 3rd place in the class now for Andrew and Rachel Forster, a move down from their previous 2nd place due to the advance up the results for Fawcett. For Mark and John Gaskin, it will be 3rd place in Class 2. The pair actually on an identical time to Forster ahead for the overall results too. And 4th place in the class behind Gaskin were Mark Burton and Zoe Wright. 3 seconds the difference at this stage in the rally. And they would share their overall time with Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster. 4th in Class 1 for the pair now as they lie in 40th overall. And it will be a couple of places back in 42nd overall for Martin Peters and Jason Leaf. The Saxo pair lying 5th in Class 2 at the halfway point. It's 5th place in Class 1 at this point for Ben and Kev Wilson. The pair stepping up to that position in this final stage of the morning. With David Goose still leading Class 6, it will be Philip Thompson and Fred Roberts moving into 2nd position in the class now. Meanwhile, for John Nicholson and Peter Littlefield, it will be a trouble-free run and a move up into 3rd place in the class, lying in 65th on our leaderboard. The reason for the movement would be the drop down the results for Nick Kitchen and Drew Trellope as they move from 2nd to 4th in the class in these stages. So at the end of the midway point at a still very cold Croft for the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, the results look like this. Jade, 4 rounds into this Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, you've certainly learnt a lot, haven't you? And you've picked up the pace as you've gone along.
Yeah, I think we've really picked up the pace. The car's doing great. We've sorted out any little issues that have gone along, and now the car's doing really well. Group B have done a great job on the car as always. Yeah, I'm really coming to my own, and me and Sarah working as well as ever together and still having really good fun. But the whole championship is really good for this car and for me, so I've really enjoyed it.
For me, the big barometer of how someone's coming on is how much more hot the car smells when it comes into service, and all I can smell is brakes and clutch today.
Yeah, I'm working it pretty hard. This whole car is done very well. It did come from like just a track car, and we've kind of converted it into a rally car, and it handles fantastically, and we do have a little bit of an advantage when it is slippy and slidey being four-wheel drive, but also this car has a really good amount of grip as well.
And you came from the track as well, of course, and one of the things you've had to get used to more than anything this year, even though you're on a circuit, is night driving on the stages.
Yeah, I really enjoy the night drive. Me and Sarah seem to, I don't know, focus a bit more in the night. We just find it really exciting, and we get on really well during the night stages. We always find we go a little bit quicker, so I really like it actually. I want to do more in the dark.
And condition-wise, you've had everything thrown at you this winter, from howling wind and you know, rain that's horizontal to here at Croft. You've had really bad conditions in terms of temperature.
Yes, we have had bad conditions, but I think it's really helped coming from karting and racing, because my dad used to shove me out on slick tyres when it was raining in go-karts, and he said, Jake, you'll thank me for it one day, and at the time I really hated him, but now I kind of see why, and I'm pleased that I've had all that experience to kind of put into this championship. I feel like it's really come together. I just hope we keep going forward. We keep trying to halve our seedings, and so far we've pretty much done that, so yeah.
So Brands Hatch onwards then, what's the plan? Is it just keep going, or have you got somewhere in mind that you want to finish the season in?
I really want to do as well as possible the championship. I would love to finish in the top 5. That would be a really great result for both of us. If we can complete the season with that, that'd be great. After that, we're wondering whether to keep on to this car or maybe change. I would love to have a car with a sequential box. That'd be awesome, because at the moment we've only got a H pattern, which is good and it's fine for what we've got at the moment. I'm still learning, so and obviously budget's obviously everything you've got to take in consideration. But I'd love to try a different car, do a bit more tarmac. But also I'm doing the Cambrian Rally as well, which should be really great. And Dad's lending me his car for that, so I can't scratch it, otherwise he won't let me forget it. But that'll be a really good experience for me.
Well, good luck for the second half of the season. We'll look forward to following your progress as ever.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
On to the next couple of stages, and there will be no change in the lead. Guy Smith and Patrick Walsh continue to lead the rally, the advantage dropping back down to 22 seconds at this stage. Two more left, Guy. You still fighting?
Yeah, still going. Having a really good time. Really enjoying it. It's there's some great competition here. Some really good drivers and some great cars. So it's a fantastic event, and yeah, we're really enjoying ourselves.
The clever ones will be watching your lines.
Thank you.
For Ashley and Fred Field, though, it would be all about the championship, of course, and they were in position for maximum points now, lying second overall, but leading the championship cruise at this stage. How's that fight going into the final two?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think we'll catch the World Car, but we'll give it a go in the last two when it gets dark.
Paul and Jessica Swift make a move in the right direction as they race themselves to the final step of the podium now. They had almost a minute to field ahead, but things were still close behind them. You're still behaving out there.
Yeah.
Going well?
You think?
Yeah.
No, we found the tyres kind of went off towards the end of the stage there, so it was a bit slip-slidey in places, but no, we're still getting on with it.
That move for Swift would be at the expense of Alan Kirkcaldy and Gary Muir, still having a good run on these stages, but continuing to be held up in that escort, moving down to 4th now with just 4 seconds to Swift ahead. So did those changes do what you needed?
Yeah, the car feels okay. Just in the last stage we got held up quite a lot, so just another time of this bad seeding, but still good.
There'd been no change in 5th place overall for Peter Stevenson and Ian Windris. They remain in that position, 9 seconds behind Kirkcaldy and 2nd in the class behind the overall leaders. Barry Renwick and Steve Dargan gain a place in this loop, moving to 6th place on the leaderboard. Some changes to the car helping with the stage times this time around. 2 more left, Barry. Have you got anything left?
Yeah, we're just getting warmed up now, Paul. Now we've lowered it, stiffened the car, so last couple of stages have been better. So we'll just try and put another couple of half decent ones in and see where we end up.
Does the night bother you?
No, I quite like it. Hopefully make up a few places.
Things were still going well meanwhile in the new car for John Stone and Tommy Meadows. They drop a place in this stage, but only down to that place gained by Renwick. They lie in 7th overall for now, 4th in Class 5. So you're looking forward to taking this on the Manx lanes. Are you looking forward to taking it into the dark?
Yeah, we are actually. Yeah. Could do with a few more tyres, but hey,
That's always the case.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit tired now. All this pulling and pushing, too unfit.
Chicanes are all right though, yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling getting through them, but yeah, good. Enjoying it.
Not content with 10th place, Steve Quigley and Tom Hutchings decide to go one better, or 2 better in fact, as they move up to 8th overall now, leading the way in Class 3. Interesting stage there for you.
Yeah, no, we knocked one of the bales, so I don't think there's any damage or anything. I haven't seen it yet, but car drove all right. I think we're winning the class, so fingers crossed we can get it to the end now. So really good. Get slippy again though.
There'd been no change for David White and Kurt Doan in this loop. They remain in 9th place on the leaderboard and hold on to that 5th place in Class 5 at this stage. You're still pushing hard, David?
Still pushing hard, yeah. Enjoying it. Going well. Fine.
2 more left. Do you like the dark?
Yeah, I don't mind the dark, to be fair, yeah.
Good stuff. And there will be a move into the top 10 now for Craig Pennington and Wayne Priest as they move up to take 10th overall and 6th in the class behind White. Here we go then, what have you got left?
Loads. I think we're top 10 now. Yeah. If we are, we were 4 seconds off top 10. I'm pretty sure we're back in.
Sadly, some of this movement that we're seeing in the top 10 will be down to the loss of James Sharrock and Martin Kenyon. They retire in Stage 5. Despite all this though, no change for Alistair and Joe Hutchinson in Class 3. They still lie in 2nd behind Quigley, but the gap was now a little smaller, 23 seconds in fact, behind those class leaders. And there's no change either for Stuart Gilks and Michael Boynes in 3rd place in the class. They remain in that position but lose a little time to those ahead in the class. Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett have a good run to move up to 4th in Class 4. The gap to the podium was too much to do anything about, but the advantage in that place was also a comfortable one. Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler continue to increase their lead in Class 1, ending Stage 6 with a 1.5 minutes advantage in the position now. Tim Simpson and Gary Green meanwhile gain a place in Class 3, moving up to take 4th in the class now, 21st overall. It's a place gained too for Mark Thompson and Thomas Bruce. They take up 5th place in Class 3 now, lying 11 seconds behind Simpson. And still no change for David and Naina Goose as they lead the way in Class 6, but they would retire after the stage in order to save the car for an upcoming rally. No change in the Class 2 lead as Stephen Irwin and Neil Bye continue to lead the way there, and in fact gaining even more of an advantage as the day goes on, now up to 47 seconds. Paul Sheard and Steve Hallmark remain in 2nd, but they do lose some time. The problem not with the car, but with making mistakes by pushing too hard. Andrew Fawcett and Chris Purvis, meanwhile, keep hold of second in Class 1. A good run still to keep hold of that position, the lead slipping away a little, but the fight's still on for the other podium places. Philip Rowland and Philip Woodcock move up the results in this stage, taking up 5th place in Class 4. The BMW pair still some way off Mike Taylor ahead though, but they'd have to watch out for Mike Bayliss behind. No change for Mark and John Gaskin though. 3rd place in Class 2 was still safe for them as they end this loop with 33rd place overall. And it had been a good run up to this point for Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster. 3rd place in Class 1 was theirs now, just a few positions back in 35th on the overall leaderboard. Fiesta pairing Mark Burton and Zoe Wright keep the pace in these stages to lie in 4th place in Class 2. They had 12 seconds to the podium places if they wanted to move up in the final 2 stages. Sadly for Andrew and Rachel Foster, it will be a move down the class results to 4th in Class 1. The Nova pair just 9 seconds back from that podium place they just lost. And for Jeffrey Harkness and Jonathan Lodge, it will be a move up to 5th in Class 2 through these stages. The Corsa pair gaining speed in the second half of the day. There'd be no change to the Class 6 runners, with Philip Thompson and Fred Roberts keeping hold of 2nd place in the class, but set to gain the lead with the loss of David Goose. And for John Nicholson and Peter Littlefield, it would still be 3rd in their class, rounding out that class now after the loss of Nick Kitching. There'd be no change to 5th in Class 1 for Ben and Kev Wilson, although they do lose a little time overall, lying in 56th on the leaderboard now. So with just 2 stages remaining here at Croft for the Jack Frost stages, it's spotlights on, the results looking like this. With the announcement this week of Susie Wolff changing from Formula 1 to promoting women in motorsport, it is top of the agenda at the moment. We've caught up with Jade Pavley this year on her switch from racing to rallying, but an established lady competitor in the rally scene. Kathy Stewart, in this fantastic looking Sunbeam, you've been doing these circuit rallies for quite a while now. How have you found this championship?
Championship's brilliant, yeah. Championship's really good. I've done single venues before. I started out in single venues about 3 years ago. I've been driving about 3 years now. It's my 4th season. So then going off and doing the race, that was a different kind of challenge on pace notes. Then coming back to this, I can really get my teeth into it. You know, you can go flat out around here without risk of diving off a cliff or anything.
It is something that everybody's trying to change, but at the moment, ladies in motorsport are very few compared to men. So how do you find being an ambassador, being one of those few people who is out there competing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It's funny. I mean, when we're out in these events, when we get spectators, I get quite a few girls come up to me and go, oh, I'd love to have a go at that, I'd love to do that. And I say, well, you know, go and do your bars. Even co-drive, you know, it's very expensive running rally cars. That's the big hurdle, is just running a car. Half the battle is getting a car to the start line. It's like the driver's just the icing on the cake usually, you know. There's a whole team behind the scenes getting it there. But there's all sorts of ways you can get involved in motorsport. You don't just have to drive, you know, it's great if you can. But there's start off co-driving. That's how I started, but 2006 I was co-driving for my partner. Got into it that way, and then I was like, I'd really like to drive. And it was like, okay, well, we're going to do your bars and get you started. It is difficult to get into, unfortunately, but I think, you know, with people like Susie Wolff starting that initiative this week, that's going to help attract women into motorsport. And obviously, if we get more media attention we get as well, really helps. You know, if women see other women driving and involved in motorsport, then hopefully that'll encourage other women to have a go. I mean, this championship, we've got a few girls doing it. We've got Jade, we've got Katie out doing it as well, and I think Kate Thompson's here today. Yeah. So there are girls out there doing it, and obviously there's a lot of female co-drivers as well. I mean, I'm a member of the British Women's Racing Drivers Club.
I can ask about that because you've got stickers on the back here.
Yeah, and they run their own championship just for ladies in all disciplines of motorsport, not just rallying. You know, there's racing, hill climbing, sprint, and there's other ways as well. You don't just have to get involved in rallying. There's cheaper forms of motorsport. I mean, I started grass auto testing. You know, you can take any car, grab your parents' car and take their car.
Ask them first.
Absolutely, yeah, with permission. But you can start doing that at 14, even younger, I think. You know, and start getting your car controlled, go and do some track days, stuff like that, and then come out and do a single venue like this. You know, you've got the top boys, and it does get very expensive, but lower down you've got the other competitors which are out having fun, and I don't see any reason why women can't compete. compete equally with the men. There's no reason at all why not, you know. I understand it's harder when you get into the professional side of it, and that's where people like Susie Wolff, Michelle Mouton, Alice Powell even, who's really coming, and you know, fingers crossed she can break through into F1.
But there is no reason why it should be.
No, absolutely no reason. You know, physically, mentally, women are just as tough as men in that sense, you know. And
My wife would argue even tougher.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've got 3 kids. I think if I can look after 3 kids, I can definitely do this. This is a holiday for me, you know, coming and having a break from the kids, bless them. But yeah, absolutely. I think that initiative that Susie Wolff started should be brilliant.
Okay, that's all well and good. If people are watching on the screen and there are ladies like yourself that are interested, inspired by what you just said, they've just seen it on the screen, where do they need to go? Where would you suggest they go first to take the first step?
Where would I suggest? If you go on the MSA website, usually you can find your local motor club, and I would say get involved in your local motor club. If you've not got family that are involved in rally and you think, I'd really like to have a go at that, go and find out where your local motor club is. There's one near you. They're all over the country. Go and join them, get involved with that, and there's lots of people who do rallying, do all forms of motorsport, will give you great advice and be willing to help you get started. And also, come along to venues like this, walk around the paddock, come and chat to us, come and chat to me. You know, later on in the year we'll be at Brands Hatch at the Lotus Festival, and I do rally rides for the public, for charity, and I'll take you for a spin, you know, come and ask questions, have a sit in the car, you know. I'd be more than happy to help anybody get started, yeah.
Thank you, Kathy. There you are, ladies. Come on, redress this balance. Cheers.
Absolutely, thank you.
So on to the final stages of the day, some of which would end up in the dark. And it will be 55th on the leaderboard for Andrew and Richard Chandler. They step up to take 5th place in Class 1 though in the final stages of the day. And for Ben and Kev Wilson, it would also be promotion in the dying light of the day, up the result into 4th in the class. Things stay the same in Class 6, of course, with the place gained due to retirement as John Nicholson and Peter Littlefield end the day with 2nd in that class. And for Philip Thompson and Fred Roberts, meanwhile, it will be an unexpected but welcomed class victory to end the rally. Retirements in Class 1 mean it's a move up to 3rd in the class for Andrew and Rachel Foster. The final step on the podium, a deserved result for the pair this weekend. Martin Peters and Jason Leaf managed a last-minute push to gain 5th place in Class 2. Things going okay for the pair in the final stages of the day. And for Mark Burton and Zoe Wright, it will be 4th in that class, 28 seconds ahead of Peters and 23 behind the podium places. Dramatically, Class 1 takes a shake-up when we lose Andrew Fawcett and Chris Purvis, retiring after stage 7. So that means it's a last-minute place inherited for Stephen Bethwaite and Anne Forster as they end the rally with 2nd place in Class 1. No change through the final stages here at Croft for Mark and John Gaskin, taking the final step on the podium in Class 2, just 3 seconds off 2nd position. And in that 2nd place were Paul Sheard and Steve Hallmark. Circuit knowledge coming to nothing this weekend, with this event placing chicanes on many of Paul's usual racing lines. Mike Bayliss and Ken Bills managed to claw a bit of extra time through those final stages to take 5th place in Class 4. Stephen Irwin and Neil Bye, meanwhile, have a great run to end the rally with the Class 2 victory. The lead they'd held all day eventually ending with a 1:20 advantage. We see some change in the dying stages of the day in Class 3, as Tim Simpson has some problems, being replaced by Edward Todd and Andy Brown to take 5th place in the class. That also means a move up to 4th place in the class for Mark Thompson and Thomas Bruce, just 5 seconds ahead of Todd, so it would have been a nervous run to the finish. For Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler, the lead in Class 1 was never in doubt. They take the victory here this weekend by a comfortable 2.5 minutes. No change, but possibly relief for Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett as they end the rally with 4th place in Class 4 and 17th on the leaderboard. A result which strengthens a fantastic overall championship points tally after round 4. The podium in Class 3 wouldn't change in the final stages, as we see Stuart Gilks and Michael Boynes finish the rally with that 3rd in class that they'd held for a while. And for Alistair and Joe Hutchinson, it will be 2nd in the class, unable to get to that class lead, missing out on victory by just 3 seconds. But for Steve Quigley and Tom Hutchings, it would be the Class 3 victory. It almost dramatically wasn't to be though. A brake problem sending the Clio pair into a chicane and causing some extensive damage. But thankfully they take victory with 3 seconds to spare. Steve, good result, although right at the end there, a bit of a moment, threatened to put pay to that.
Bit of a drama. Second to last stage, rear pad came out, coming up to the chicane pretty quick in 5th gear. So had a bit of a moment, scuffed a load of tyres, made him cosmetic damage, to be honest. It drove fine, etc. So tentative last stage, but yeah, nicked the class win and really made up. So a lot of hard work got into the car the last couple of days. And made up. Fucking absolutely fantastic.
So eyes on the championship points at this stage?
Yeah, max championship points for the class. So we'll see how that works out. But Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time, so we've got a bit of panel beating to do and round to the spray booth. But mechanically, it seemed all right. The car was fantastic today. Really enjoyed it.
Although the front wings are plastic, so you'll have a job beating them.
They do, but there are some other bits that need a beating.
Cheers.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
David White and Kurt Doan manage a place gained overall to take 8th place. But there will be no change in the class. They end the event with 5th position. It would be a good first rally for John Stone and Tommy Meadows in that new Fiesta. They take 7th place at the end of the rally and 4th in the class ahead of White. Barry Renwick and Steve Dargan take away 3rd in the class. 31 seconds ahead of Stone, but with 38 seconds themselves to the car ahead. And in that place were Peter Stevenson and Ian Windrus, 2nd in Class 5 and actually on an identical overall time to those in 4th. And those in 4th will be Alan Kirkcaldy and Gary Muir. They'd suffered with hold-ups on the stage all day, but that result showed the pace that the pair had with only limited seat time in that Escort. The final stages would go without issues for Paul and Jessica Swift. They end the rally with the final step on the podium in 3rd place, as well as 2nd in Class 4. And for Ashley and Fred Field, it will be victory in the class, much needed as well. Maximum championship points to take away from round 4, meaning that Ashley's lead in the championship was now safe, going to Brands Hatch. But outside the championship battle, it would be the event victory this weekend for Guy Smith and Patrick Walsh. They take victory by 25 seconds at the end of the day. A great result for the first competitive outing in that car for Le Mans driver Guy. So before we chat to the winner here at round 4, here's a look at the overall results. Guy, what a job you've done today in that Focus, and you haven't had a lot of seat time in there.
No, it's been fantastic. We've had a really good day. I mean, the main thing about doing these events is to really enjoy it, and it's the first rally I've done in over a year, and yeah, what a great event. It's been a real treat to drive this fantastic car, and yeah, it's just been a really good day, really good fun.
You others have enjoyed having a bit of a benchmark, but they've pushed you hard. They've been fighting all day.
No, very good competition. Some great driving out there. Some beautiful cars, and it just shows what a competitive championship this is, and yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, it's not easy by any means. So yeah, a lot of fun. Good.
So there is a chance that we could see you out again in the future in the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to do some more events. you know, our racing schedule kind of kicks off now with Bathurst in a couple of weeks, so it becomes more difficult, obviously, once you're into the season. But you know, maybe I'll have a chat with Malcolm and see if he'll let me do a few more events. But yeah, no, it's always this is a real nice, you know, situation to come and do these rallies. I really enjoy it, so hopefully I can come back and do some more.
We'll go and get some testing in that Bentley, ready to do the next round.
Great,
Cheers.
thank you, thanks, thank you.
Ashley, you needed this result after last time out, and you got it. Second place here. That's great for the championship.
It is. It's put the championship back on track. We were disappointed after the last event, obviously. And yeah, we were pleased today. It's a good result considering the conditions this morning, because yeah, we're getting used to the car in these cold conditions, which is good for the rest of the year, really.
So where does the rest of the year put you? Where does that take a bit of the pressure off, or does that just put more pressure on because you got yourself up to that next level?
I think the pressure's still on, isn't it? You know, to actually perform and do it every time, and you know, the pressure's on, isn't it? You know, it's only a small mistake and we're back down again. So it's good. We're pleased, and Fred, who was co-driving for me, has done really well as well. So yeah, it's a good result. We're pleased.
Congratulations. We'll see you at Brands Hatch.
Thank you very much.
Paul, hard-fought result, and you had to figure out exactly what had happened at the end there on the times, because there were seconds going into the last stage, but good one.
Yeah, unfortunately my phone went flat just before we started, so we didn't know what we had to do, so we just thought, she said you need to back off a little bit, you're going too hard. But no, it was great, really enjoyed the day, and pleased it didn't snow.
And even though I was disappointed, because, you know, stuntman should go sideways, you were taking the racing line, that's obviously the quickest way to drive.
Well, no, she's got the pencil there, she pokes me in the leg if I go too sideways, because she wants to win, so...
But you do that Monday to Friday?
I just here for fun, she wants to win.
Yeah, well...
Monday to Friday sideways, yeah.
Nice one, good result, well done.
Thank you, cheers.
That's it from Croft for round 4 of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, the Jack Frost stages. A great guest appearance from Works Bentley Le Mans GT driver Guy Smith, showing us the way around that Croft circuit. Ashley Field strengthens his championship points tally, and he'll be looking to do that yet more when we head to Brands Hatch next. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching.
Five right plus in and 6 right continues over clear.